Good morning, Boker Tov. Welcome to the Kehillat Shari Torah Halacha Review for Monday, January 18th. We've been talking about various aspects of salt in Halacha and Jewish law. So here's what we say about salt on Shabbat. Regular table salt has the same status as regular food. You can move it around on the table. You can carry it from the kitchen for any reason whatsoever. In other words, it's not muktzah. It's not something that has a special designated use that's not a Shabbos use, and therefore we would be prohibited from moving it. That's not the case with salt. Even coarse salt or kosher salt, koshering salt, is not muktzah, since you don't have to use it exclusively for koshering meat. You could also use it to season food. In fact, that's what the A-list chefs recommend, is using kosher salt. Salt used exclusively for melting ice would also not be considered muktzah if you rely on the poskim who permit its use on Shabbat. So let's talk about the idea of sprinkling salt on the ice on Shabbos. Okay, the poskim say, the halachic authorities say that if ice poses a danger to the public, one may spread salt on Shabbos in order to melt the ice. This is in the name of Shmiras Shabbos Kehilchaso, Machzei Eliyahu Be'er Moshe, Orchas Shabbos, Nishma Shabbos, Yalkut Yosef, and 3 or 4 other 20th century poskim. So, for example, on our front ramp walkway there leading up to the shul, it's a little bit slippery. Indeed, people actually have slipped and fallen, unfortunately. Hopefully, we're taking better care to salt it and to put out those runners in the winter when it's icy. But still, it is a danger. So they say that they base their leniency on the fact that it is a grama on Shabbos. In other words, you're putting something that causes something else to happen. You're just sprinkling the salt, and that's causing whatever it is, lower surface tension temperatures. I don't know the chemistry of it, but it causes the ice to melt. Rabbi Belsky says it's only permitted to avoid danger, and not because spreading salt's a grama. He doesn't hold to that, but he says, of course, to avoid danger, you are allowed to do this. So you have to figure out if it is a hazard to the public before spreading the salt on the ice on Shabbos. And of course, we're talking about everything inside an Eruv, which most of Toronto is, so we're covered as far as that goes. Okay, what happens when you want to make salt water on Shabbos or Yom Tov? Here's an example. It's Pesach coming up in just less than 10 weeks. From now, and it's Yom Tov, and you want to make salt water for to dip the karpas in at the Seder. So it appears to be an act of preserving food, which is a subcategory of tanning that we're starting to speak about the various forbidden malachas of Shabbos, forbidden labors on Shabbos in our essential Talmud class. So on the one hand, we're not supposed to prepare salt water on Shabbos. We'll speak about Yom Tov in a second because of this reason. So it's forbidden even if you don't have intention of pickling food. Preparing small amounts of salt water is permitted because it doesn't have the appearance of a pickling process. If you start making a gallon or 2 gallons or 5-gallon bucket of brine, obviously you're getting ready to do some pickling there. But if you take a little dish with a little water and put a little salt in, that's nobody would think that you're preparing to put up a whole jar of pickles there. The solution should be 2 parts salt to 1 part water. Some say that even when making a small amount, you should only use it for that meal. So let's finish the Yom Tov part. Some say that you should avoid preparing salt water on Yom Tov, and others permit it. A little bit of machlokas acharon and machlokas aposkim there. The minhag there is to make it on Yom Tov itself. We do make salt water on Yom Tov. You could think to do it before, by all means. Chaye Adam says that you should be prepared with a shinoi, with a little bit of a different change, an alteration in the order in which we do it. So either put salt in the dish first and then add water, something to make it different, or stir it backwards from how you normally stir. The minhag, the general custom, is not to be concerned about this. Okay, what about dipping matzah into salt on Pesach? Some have, that's shayach, it's coming up in a couple of weeks, as we said. Some have the custom to dip the matzah in salt on Pesach in order to improve the taste. Those who follow this custom sprinkle salt on the matzah rather than dipping in the salt. Twofold reason for this. First, the concern that there's some moisture in the salt which might moisten the matzah. Others say salt will not remain on the matzah if you just dip it in, it'll fall right off, so they sprinkle it over top. And some say not to use salt. Who says that? The Ramah, Das Torah, Machzei Eliyahu say don't use salt. One reason is that on the night of Pesach, it's Leil Shimurim, it's a night of watching, so the shmira that the salt provides is not necessary on that night. Another reason is that salt lasts forever while food spoils. If a person eats l'shem shamayim, for the sake of Hashem, the food lasts forever. We dip the bread in salt to symbolize that our eating can be elevated to something holy and last forever, have an enduring quality to it like salt. Since it's a mitzvah to eat Pesach to eat matzah on the night of Pesach, no need to symbolize this idea with salt. Okay, we'll pause there. We have a few more things to say about that in the next day or two, so please join us then. In the meantime, have a good day.